For my third image, I chose to use this one right here from Sarah Harper. And to start off, I could talk about how effectively does this artist use elements and principles of design or photography in composing an image. So in this image, you can see that the corks of wine bottles are all in this glass bowl. I would say that the glass bowl is probably some sort of china, and you can see the lines in the actual bowl to represent some sort of pattern that the bowl has. And you can also see lines that distinguish all of the corks from one another. Some are rounder and some are narrower. For instance, the lighter one that looks like it may be a barefoot cork. That one is more narrow than the one at the far or at the bottom of the picture, which has a rounder top. Another thing you can see here is the shape. You can see that the shape here of each cork, kind of like I mentioned earlier, through the line. You can also see the texture, so you know that the corks are usually harder, but they are, if you do, they can give a little. And you can also see that these are three-dimensional as well, so that way we do know that they do have a texture. Another thing is space. You can see where, more towards the right of the picture, it's full of corks, and the left side is more about the glass bowl that they're in. Another thing you can see here is emphasis. So we do know that these corks are the main emphasis of the image. So to get into talking about what the image is actually about, I would say that the image is about a vice. Everyone has a vice, whether they know it or not, and maybe this person's vice is alcohol, wine in particular, since there are many corks in this bowl. So maybe this is talking about maybe this person is a alcoholic who chooses wine as their type of alcohol, and maybe they have a vice, they have a problem or a bad habit with wine. One thing that I would change about this image is I would actually add color. The black and white is pretty nice, but I would probably try to add a little bit of color so we can see the different colors of the corks, and maybe some ends of the corks are going to be a shade, maybe like where the wine had stained some of the cork. Also, I would probably I would probably add even more corks in there, maybe zoom out and just get a picture of the entire bowl or vase or whatever all the corks are in, and get as many in there as I possibly could. And then, so how this picture could use improvement, it's basically the same thing that I said about changing the image. I think this picture could use improvement by adding more corks and giving it a little bit of color so we can actually see the difference in the corks a little better. And some are stained with wine, or some are still their natural color. And then we could also see if there were more corks in there, we could actually get more of an emphasis on what the photographer is trying to portray in this image. But all in all, I think this is a really good image. I would just maybe if you could possibly add some wine bottles in the background and kind of zoom out, just so we know exactly what's going on in this image. But overall, I think it's a pretty good image.